Hey, my homies, it's your homegirl Ronnika. Please do tell podcast. Welcome back. I feel like last month I said it's been a minute, but then it's been a minute again. So I promise I'll do better in 2025. I promise you I'm not going anywhere, but I promise you I'll do better. I am your host and here to dive into stories that connect us to our past, help us navigate the present, and inspire our future. Whether we're exploring family mysteries, moments of growth, or life's tougher conversations, I'm here to bring stories that matter. So let's kind of pick up where we left off and continue this journey together, okay? So thanks for tuning in and let's get started. My homies, it is officially the holiday season and a lot of emotions, a lot of anxiety, and then for some people, depression as well. Um, so if you haven't been around in a while or you're new here, my name is Ronnika Williams. I feel like the background in a lot of things, but in this most recent part of my life right now, I am a bereavement coordinator and I am helping both young people and adults navigate their grief. And one of the things that I'm able to do is actually go into the schools and help young people how to navigate their grief. So there was just a few things that came up during one of the most recent uh, school groups is that how the holidays change us after losing someone. So if you've been on this journey with me since my father died over 10 years ago, really been on this journey of finding my family, like navigating what that looks like after losing, especially a parent, and how I wanted to reconnect with family, just like really badly, right? and uh, and that goes for both sides. Even before losing my father, I always wanted to come from a big family. I really thought it was cool that my father was like one of 11. My mom is one of 5 on her mom's side. Emphasis on her mom's side, cause mom. It's like I look at you, you 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 know we don't know about the dad. Yeah. Anywho, so and just being open and honest with having those conversations, like I just said, like I don't know how many siblings my mom has on her dad's side. And that's something that I feel like I'm tasked with and I love to discover, and I love to also discover that for other people. But there was one thing that kind of stood out to me when I did the pitch competition back in October, is that someone has said to me, I want to go looking for my family, but I'm scared about what I'm going to find. And that's real. And you know that also grief lies within that as well. Is that I want those answers, but I'm afraid of what's on the other side. So there was a number of topics that I came up with about discussing today, a number. And also ties into the nail color that I chose. Uh, for this week is mindful meditation. So I really had to take a step back. I've had quite a few people reach out to me like, hey, can you help me find my family or retrace their steps, or what would that look like for me? Even have a call that I need to make this week is that let's start small. It's the holiday season. What are some things that you can collect while you're with family or even communicating with family? Or even for some of you it's like I don't really want to communicate with my family, but that same family they were like, I don't know if I want to communicate with them, can also unlock some things, some answers that you've been hoping and looking for when it comes to figuring out who you truly are, right? I mean, we've made lives for ourselves outside of our family, but we also want to know, like, what are some traits? What are some things that I need to look out for, both medically, emotionally, physically, when it comes to my family? So I'm going to go through just a couple of topics that I had today, and then we'll land on our story time once you hear those. So I had written down retracing holiday memories. So I wanted to discuss just some family traditions, and that's a lot of things. That's a couple things that I've actually been talking about with my young people. Is what are some of the family traditions that you have established and that you want to keep going? You want to you some of these traditions that you want to just probably build upon as you get older, after especially after losing such a, I would say, a person in your life that um for example, we said we don't know who the big mama is in our generation. We don't know. We don't know even who it is in our previous generation. My aunt, who recently had some health issues, she had taken on, because she loves to entertain, she had taken on the charge of having Christmas at her place. It was a newer home, and she was able to entertain in multiple rooms of her home. Whereas, who did she pass this down to? Who wants to take on the torch for that? So when I'm thinking about traditions when it comes to that, is who's gonna be the big mamas or the big aunties or something. Social media posts recently, even this past week or so, is that we're saying like, oh yeah, Christmas and Thanksgiving isn't what it used to be. It's like, oh, we're the adults now. It's on us. So you want us to do the turkey, the ham, the baked mac and cheese. All, so you want us to do the greens and the yams and all of that. Oh, okay. Because we over here making new traditions like, oh, we're having tacos on these holidays. We're having a seafood boil. I mean, we're doing all the other non-traditional things. So what does that look like for you when it comes to holiday memories and traditions? The next one is gifts of the past, stories that keep going. These powerful stories that you know that your family is holding on to is what we need. So really I feel like this is turning into a list of like things that millennials need to for you to pass the torch in order for these Christmas or these holiday traditions to keep moving forward. We need these stories. We need to know why our grandma used the same pan for ham. Or we want to know why none of us know how to use a pressure cooker. If you are a millennial that knows how to use a pressure cooker, don't tell my mom, because she said that that was one of the things that her mom passed down to her, is that how to use a pressure cooker, and really none of us have had the patience to sit through that tutorial. So I know after this episode, after my mom watched, she's gonna be like, you know what? Before Christmas, you're gonna learn how to use a pressure cooker. Cause I used to be in the kitchen with her, and like I would hear the whistle and all that. I was like, wow, it must be greatness going on in that pot, and it was green. So I mean, if this is a part of this list where if you are a millennial, these are the questions that you need to ask your boomer or your silent generation elder in your life to pass down to us. The weight of an empty chair. My grandmother, it was, there's even, I'm sure, a photo of her in this chair. My dad's mom, and then my mom's mom, she had this recliner, which I think was also my granddad's, but it was just, I feel like it was a room of recliners. But at my granny's house, it was this floral armchair. It was two of them. I'm sure it was a matching couch. This house didn't have plastic on it like my other granny's house, but neither here nor there. No plastic, but this was the chair that she was sitting in, and I can vividly remember her praying in this chair. This was months before, maybe at least 4 months before she died. Like I can remember that Christmas or that Thanksgiving. She didn't do a whole lot of cooking. It was more of instruction. And I will say this is where the village came in. Like my grandmother, my mom's mom would cook different meals for the family to make sure that everyone was fed during those times of when my granny was sick. And I can remember her kneel down and just like in a pose like this and for a lot of us, we were thinking like, oh my gosh, she must be in a lot of pain. There's too much noise. There's a lot going on. That was really her um, praying for the generations that were going to come after she was gone. So when I think of the weight of an empty chair, I think of after she died, how just everything changed. Everything. As much as you try to go back to that normal of having that person there, your holidays will never be the same. And that's where new traditions need to usher themselves in. She Can Nail the Holidays is my next one. Hello. Like, you all know that I've been obsessed in love with nail polish for as long as I can remember. I've told the story about how I wasn't able to wear red nail polish for a very long time. Well, I was able to wear it in my household, but I wasn't able to wear it over my Grammy's house because that was the whole thing. And then the older I got, I wanted to ask, like, how come I can't wear a red dress, which is my favorite? Red is my favorite color, red. Um, couldn't wear red dresses, couldn't wear red nail polish, and how that played a role in my psyche growing up because I really thought that why are we excluding this one color and it's not in the Bible saying that I couldn't wear it. So I was one of those kids that I was gonna challenge why I can't do this, okay? But nails and the titles and just the stories that I've done with Manicure Monday, nails will always be a part of my narrative because I've not only did I love doing it when I was younger, and then after my accident, and then having this birthmark, is I didn't want to draw attention to my hands or just the fact that it's kind of hard for me to make a fist sometimes, but also how the many stories can lie within me, both my nails and how my story has changed since that day of March 2nd, 2010, which will be 15 years next year. Whoa. And then the last one was the year end wrap up stories we've told this year, stories that I'm like, I can't believe I told y'all that. The runaway love, the that's definitely one that sticks out to me. And being able to share retracing their steps with you all and with the local community and with the world, and how I'm excited about in 2025. We'll have more exhibits coming out, and how over this year I really had to have grace with myself. I went back to therapy. I think it's been 3 or 4 sessions now. The beautiful thing is that insurance covers it now. Ooh, ooh. But I'll say this. When I was in therapy before, I was in therapy for the relationships that were around me that weren't working and were putting me in the middle. Now I'm in therapy for myself, and I'm putting together like actionable goals. And one of them I was able to share my last session a couple weeks ago because my next session, I'm bi-weekly, so I'll be there or I'll be virtual again on this upcoming Tuesday when this episode launches. And I am just floored at how many revelations I've had, even just in the past few weeks since being back in therapy. But knowing how my anxiety has heightened, I still often think about, and my mom has asked me this too, like I didn't know how much my cousin's death would impact me. It really rocked me outside of everything that went on this year. Having COVID again on my 40th birthday, like what? Just after I left here, yeah, it was like launching the virtual exhibit. This was all weeks before launching the virtual exhibit. My best friend going through her cancer journey. Other friends like changing careers, changing jobs, choosing themselves, being parents, traveling, just navigating grief as a whole. And then losing Perry this summer just really knocked me off my square. Like it's a lot of times where I'm even riding down the road or I'm even in group with my kids and they're like, and the question is, who are you thinking about today? Which one of your people that you've lost are you reflecting on? And for a lot of times it's Perry. It's been Perry this year. And I just think of sometimes it's those moments where I'm like, I just haven't talked to him in a while. I haven't. Or when I go to the gas station or the bank that's close to where he's buried, that's when I really like, oh no, like his shell is over there. Um, but his spirit and his legacy is still motivating me in one way or another. Um, but depression definitely was at the surface this year for in a lot of ways. It was, and I talked about this in the last episode with grief and growth is I thank God for my village. I thank God for my friends that were like, we know something isn't okay, but we're still going to show up for you in the way that you need us to, and still providing that a layer of support and prayer. And of course, my family is amazing. So, but this podcast has really kept me in the place of moving forward because a lot of times I'm like, do I want to keep doing this? Do I want to keep showing up? And knowing that there is a beautiful story and testimony on the other side of what has happened this year. So I'm here to tell you that I've even encouraged another friend to return to therapy because therapy shouldn't be like prayer. Like we should not always show up when it's like in that dire need of something happening. Like we should pray always, and we should also seek counsel in a lot of ways outside of just when we feel like we're at the lowest of low. But I know for myself that I have reached that point of like I'm tired of telling my friends about it. I'm tired of complaining about it to my mom and my sister and even my brother at times, that I need to seek professional help. And I know for a lot of people in our community, it's like, that's crazy. It's not crazy. It's not crazy to seek help at all. Okay. So I want to really close with, when it comes to the holidays, and we know that a lot of things for quite a few of us have changed. I look at some friends that have no grandparents left. I am now in that community where there's no grandparents left, and you want to think about what it looks like moving forward for holiday traditions. Make your own. There's some things that happen during our upbringing is like, I would never welcome that behavior in my home. Well, don't. But make a new tradition for yourself and for how you want these holidays to move forward. Things will never look the same. They won't. Speaking from experience, they just won't. But we really need to use these holidays as a time to reflect and rejoice for still being here. And just know that new traditions are welcomed, okay? So even though I gave you this list, it's almost like it's not really a to-do. Like it's get to it when you can, when you think about it. But definitely ask those elders about your past because it definitely affects your present and your future. But more than anything, work on that tradition that works for you, okay? Because I'm working on it too. So I want to tell you all happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Not sure if I'll be back in the studio again this year, but I definitely wanted to make sure that I got an episode to you before 2025 pops off. and my birthday month, because January is very important because it's my birthday month and it's also Jake's birthday month. Okay.
Here, here.
Act like you know, Bluck, what you heard. All right, my homies. So we will see you next time. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and maybe even Happy New Year. All right, I'm your homegirl, Ronnika. This is the Please Do Tell podcast. You know where you can find me. I'm Ronnika.Williams on social media, and Please Do Tell podcast both on Facebook and Instagram. And you know you can find me on YouTube. All right, I'll see you all later.